If you have seen my videos before, you know that this is not my normal voice. Last week I went to Stockholm to go to a concert with my friend Lars, and after getting home from that trip I got very, very sick, and am still a bit sick. But that trip made me realize something and helped me to remember something very, very important. I left the city about 4 years ago to move out here to the forest. I used to live in the biggest city in Sweden, surrounded by 1 million people, but I still felt very lonely. But moving out here helped me to go from lonely and depressed to alone and happy. And today I want to share how I did that, because I think there are too much people out there feeling both lonely and depressed. When I first moved out here, I knew absolutely no one. And there was no neighbors to speak about either. So one of the first questions I had to myself was that, like, how do I make new friends out here? And the thing I realized was that asking for help is not a weakness at all. It's actually a strength. And one of the first things I needed help with was how to get a dog. Because when I pictured myself living in a cabin in the forest, I always pictured it with living with at least one dog and a girlfriend. But I thought it would be easier to start with a dog. So that's where I started. It was at that time I had a blog. I wasn't on YouTube or anything else. It was that time of my life when Facebook was a big deal as well. So I actually posted one of my blog posts on Facebook. And one of the comments on that post was from a girl called Nicole. And I saw her profile picture, which had her and 1 or 2 huskies in it. And my dream dog has always been a husky, but I had no idea where to begin to look and even search for it. So I actually just reached out to her and asked for help. I just, hi, is that huskies on your picture? And I started asking, like bombarding her with questions. And we started writing hours every day. And before we even met, she agreed to actually lend me a dog while I was here in the cabin for a whole week, so I can just get the feeling of how it is to live with a husky. And for that I am ever grateful, Nicole, for trusting me with your baby, basically. So just by me reaching out to her and asking for help, asking her the questions I needed answers to, got me to the point I am today. I have 2 very lovely huskies that I share my life with, and that wouldn't have been possible, I think, without Nicole. And we actually visited Nicole last week, because when I met her she had 3 huskies, I think, and today she has 13. When I got to know Nicole, she actually lived in the city, but since then she also followed her dream and now lives in the countryside just like me, in a beautiful spot in the forest, surrounded by some cozy neighbors and a lot of huskies.
Ja, då kör vi. Kom igen. Ja, ja. Anna, bra tuss. Bra Anna, bra tuss. Kom igen.
Doesn't get better than this. Even though I'm surrounded by amazing people like Nicole and her boyfriend Niklas, my family or Christine, I of course have days where I feel very sad and lonely. And that's the second thing I've learned from moving out here, that those feelings are okay as well. I even talked about that in my newsletter I sent out a few weeks ago. You should read straight from there actually. I talked about the rule of thirds. Whenever you're chasing a dream, you're supposed to feel good a third of the time, okay a third of the time, and feel crappy a third of the time. And if you feel roughly in those ratios, it means that you're in fact chasing a dream. If you feel too good all the time, you're not pushing yourself enough. And if you feel too fatigued, you might be burning out or having a mental health challenge and need to reevaluate. And I think that's an important lesson to learn, that it's not supposed to be perfect all the time. We're supposed to feel crappy. Even though you're chasing a dream, even though I love my work on YouTube, I still hate it sometimes. And that's okay, because I still have my third where I absolutely feel amazing and just so grateful for being able to do what I do. And I joke about that with Christina sometimes as well, that like I only love her to 95%. If I'm expected, or if we are in general expected to love every single one in our like close circuit to 100%, we're gonna be extremely disappointed most of the time actually. While on the topic of not expecting perfect, last week I got a visit from a guy I've never met in my entire life. He's called Olle Nilsson. He's an extremely talented wildlife photographer, and he drove 8 hours to get here. He's also a YouTuber just like me, and we had this like very planned out weekend where we're gonna film a lot and do these kind of videos together and have it all scheduled, but it didn't exactly go as planned. En ålder.
Ja, man skulle kasta vatten och låta det frysa. Ja, men typ. Det har ju hänt att man har lagt in någon flöta.
Tackar.
How cozy.
Play the waiting game.
Yep, now we wait.
Nu ska det komma ett låg här. Det här var nice tror jag.
Just like I said before, me and Olle had a lot of expectations for these days together, and yeah, he got some amazing shots of those birds, but we still didn't get the birds that we really wanted to take photos of, and there was no squirrel showing up, and we didn't get to film the car tent we were so planning to sleep over in. But what I learned from these kind of visits is that instead of focusing on what we missed out on, we should instead focus on what we actually had time to do. We got 3 amazing days together with lunches and dinners, cozy hangouts, talk about life and YouTube, and we got to do a sauna together. We slept outside in a tree tent. There was so much stuff we had time to do. So focus. It's so easy to just look at the things like, oh shit, we didn't have time to do that. Look at the things that you actually got done during it. If you look back on a day or a week, look at the things that you got done, not on the things that you missed out on. But one of the things I'm very happy that we had time to do was to fly with his FPV drone, because he's very talented on that as well. So I just have to show you some clips that he captured.
Man ser ju inte de här små grenarna.
Nej, jag kan tänka mig det.
Nu kommer vi krascha.
Ja.
As you know, we spent most of our daily life here in the cabin, but we also travel quite a lot. Like last week I was at a concert in Stockholm, and in a few weeks we're heading down south to Denmark to visit Christine's family. Most of us have our entire lives online, these days at least. And for us, it's very easy to pack everything up here and just take it with us. But it also complicates a lot of things. But that's where the sponsor of this video comes in, NordVPN. Think of them like this. A VPN is an extremely smart tool that lets you connect to the internet via a different country. And why would you need that? Well, let me share an example of what happened to me and how I used NordVPN to save the situation. When we were in Denmark the last time, I needed to buy some stuff for my company. I put in my credit card information, but the bank noticed that I was in another country and didn't allow the payment to go through. So I simply went onto Nord, switched my location back to Sweden, and the payment went through right away. Same thing goes when you want to watch a movie or a series. Last week I wanted to watch one of my favorite movies ever, Whiplash, but it wasn't available in Sweden. So I went to NordVPN, I switched my location to the UK, and ta-da! Now I could watch the movie. So don't lose out on so many movies and series just because you're limiting yourself to the country you live in. And just like I said before, most of us have our entire lives online, which is very convenient, but it's also very vulnerable. NordVPN gives you a secure way of accessing the internet without that you have to worry about your information getting stolen. You know all those emails that you get that appear to be from YouTube, your bank, or social media accounts? Those are in fact just attempts of stealing your passwords. And that's called phishing, with a PH. And these phishing attempts are getting better every day. So I totally understand that people are being tricked. But NordVPN has their very own threat protection, which includes a specific feature to warn you about these phishing links, as well as a feature like a blocker for malicious ads and dark web monitoring to inform you if your passwords has been leaked. When you use my specific link nordvpn.com/Kalle Flodin, you will get not only a major discount, but also some months for free. And trying it out is completely risk-free, because Nord offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll talk to you guys very soon again, and until then, take care.